Anita, the Scrappy Grandma. So I sat down to start studying this morning and realized that I missed two full chapters, two very important chapters of yesterday's Torah portion reading. So I'm going to do a part two. So part two, and you know what? I probably will go ahead and read some extra Haftorah since I wasn't able to yesterday. So part two, because I stopped at the end of, hold on here, where did I stop? I stopped at the end of 20, and I missed Genesis 21 and 22, which are really huge and important. As I started going through it, I'm like, I don't remember reading about Isaac and taking him up and offering him up, and I know that was part of this portion. So here we go. So Genesis 21. Father Yah, I know all things are in your hands, and I just ask that you bless this time, bless everyone who listens to this recording, and help us to know you more through the reading of your word. In Yeshua's holy name, amen. Okay, so Genesis 21. And Yahuwah visited Sarah as he had said, and Yahuwah did for Sarah as he had spoken. So Sarah conceived and bore Abraham a son in his old age at the appointed time of which Elohim had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son who was born to him, whom Sarah bore to him, Yatzig, Isaac. And Abraham circumcised his son Yatzig when he was 8 days old, as Elohim had commanded him. And Abram was 100 years old when his son Yatzig was born to him. And Sarah said, Elohim has made me laugh, and everyone who hears of it laughs with me. And she said, who would have said that Sarah would nurse children? For I have borne him a son in his old age. And the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast on the day that Yatzig was weaned. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Mitzrayite, whom she had borne to Abraham, mocking. So she said to Abraham, drive out this female servant and her son, for the son of the female servant shall not inherit my son with Yatzig. And the matter was very evil in the eyes of Abraham because of his son. But Elohim said to Abraham, let it not be evil in your eyes because of the boy and because of your female servant. Whatsoever Sarah has said to you, listen to her voice, for in Yatzig your seed is called. And of the son of the female servant I will also make a nation, because he is your seed. And Abraham rose early in the morning and took bread and a skin of water, which he gave to Hagar, putting it on her shoulder, also the boy. I had always pictured him being a toddler, but he's actually like 15. So, but because people lived well over 100, or lived over 100 at this point, 15 is still very, very young. So a boy. So he placed putting it on her shoulder, also the boy, and sent her away. And she left and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. And the water in the skin was used up, and she placed the boy under one of the shrubs. And she went and sat down about a bow's shot away, for she said, let me not see the death of the boy. And she sat opposite him and lifted up her voice and wept. And Elohim heard the voice of the boy, and the messenger of Elohim called to Hagar from the heavens and said to her, what is the matter with you, Hagar? Do not fear, for Elohim has heard the voice of the boy where he is. Arise, lift up the boy and hold him with your hand, for I make a great nation of him. And Elohim opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. And she went and she filled the skin with water and gave the boy a drink. And Elohim was with the boy, and he grew, and he dwelt in the wilderness and became an archer. And he dwelt in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took a wife for him from the land of Mitzrayim, from Egypt, because his mother is Egyptian. Hagar is from Egypt. And it came to be at the time that Abimelech and Pichol, the commanders of his army, spoke to Abraham, saying, Elohim is with you in all that you do. And now swear to me. Okay, so wait a second. We just shifted. Elohim was with the boy, and he dwelt in the wilderness and became an archer. He dwelt in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took him a wife from the land of Mitzrayim. So, and it came to be at that time that Abimelech and Pekol, the commander of the army, spoke to Abraham, saying, Elohim is with you in all that you do. Now, swear to me by Elohim not to do untrue to me, to my offspring, or to my descendants. Do to me according to the loving commitment that I have done to you and to the land of which you have sojourned. And Abraham said, I swear. And Abraham reproved Abimelech because of the well of water which Abraham's servant had seized. And Abimelech said, I do not know who has done this deed, neither did you inform me, nor did I hear of it until today. So Abraham took sheep and cattle and gave them to Abimelech, and the two of them made a covenant. And Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves. And Abimelech asked Abraham, what are these 7 ewe lambs which you have set by themselves? And he said, take these 7 ewe lambs from my hand to be my witness that I have dug this well. So he called that place Beersheba, because the two of them swore an oath there. Thus they made a covenant at Beersheba. And Abimelech rose with Pekol, the commander of his army, and they returned to the land of the Philistines. And he planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba, and there called on the name of Yahuwah, the everlasting El. And Abraham sojourned in the land of the Philistine many days. 22. And it came to be after these events that Elohim tried Abraham and said to him, Abraham, and he said, here I am. And he said, take your son now, your only son Yatzig, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah, and offer him there as an everlasting offering on one of the mountains which I command you. And Abraham rose early in the morning and saddled his donkey and took 2 of his young men with him and Yatzig his son, and he split the wood. Now at this time, many years have passed at this time. And Yatzig now, I remember he's about 24. He's not a young man. He's a young man. He's not a boy. I always, once again, when I would read this, I would picture, this little 10-year-old or, little kid. But he's actually a young man at this point. So, and he went willingly with his father. So early in the morning, he saddled the donkey, took 2 of his young men with him and Yatzig his son, and he split wood for the ascending offering and rose and went to the place which Elohim had commanded him. Now it's interesting. He split wood for the ascending offering. This is before Moses. This is before the written Torah was written out on the tablets and all of the Torah about the offerings. But yet Abraham knew from the orally passed down from Melchizedek and his father what an ascending offering is. And so he split the wood for the ascending offering and rose and went to the place which Elohim had commanded him. And on the 3rd day, Abraham lifted his eyes and saw the place from a distance. So Abraham said to his young men, stay here with the donkey while the boy and I go over there and worship and come back to you. See, there's faith. We're going to come back to you. And Abraham took the wood of the ascending offering and lay it on Yatzig his son, and he took the fire in his hand and the knife, and the 2 of them went together. And Yatzig spoke to Abraham his father and said, my father. And he said, here I am, my son. And he said, see the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the ascending offering? And Abraham said, my son, Elohim does provide for himself the lamb for an ascending offering. Boy, that's prophetic. And the 2 of them went together. And they came to the place which Elohim had commanded him, and Abraham built a slaughter place there and placed the wood in order. And he bound Yatzig, his son, and laid him on the slaughter place upon the wood. And Yatzig willingly, they both had so much faith that even if he killed him, that Yahuwah would bring him back to life, because he had made the promise that in him would be many nations, in his seed, from Yatzig. So they knew from Isaac. And Abraham stretched out his hand, and he took the knife to slay his son. But the messenger, capital M, meaning Yeshua of Jesus, But the messenger of Yahuwah called to him from the heavens and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. And he said, Do not lay a hand on the boy, nor touch him, for now I know that you fear Elohim, seeing you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me. And Abraham lifted his eyes and looked and saw behind him a ram caught in a bush by its horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered it up for an ascending offering instead of his son. And Abraham called the name of the place Yahuwah Yireh, as it is said to this day, on the mountain Yahuwah provides. And the messenger, capital M, Yeshua, Jesus, of Yahuwah, called Abraham a second time from the heavens, and he said, By myself I have sworn, declares Yahuwah, because you have done this and have not withheld your son, your only son, that I shall certainly bless you, and I shall certainly increase your seed as the stars of the heavens, this is the sands on the seashore, and let your seed possess the gates of their enemies. And in your seed, I love this promise right here, because it pertains to us, and in your seed all of the nations of the earth shall be blessed, because you have obeyed my voice. Then Abraham returned to his young men, and they rose up and they went together to Beersheba, and Abraham dwelt at Beersheba. And it came to be after these events that it was reported to Abraham, saying, See, Milcah too has borne a child. Now Milcah, remember, was his brother Haran's daughter, Sarah and Lot's sister, who Nahor, his other brother, married. And she bore a child, Ut, his firstborn, and Buz, his brother, and Kemuel, the father of Aram, and Kesed, and Hazo, and Pildash, and Yalab, and Bethelel. And Bethelel brought forth Ribkah, which is Rebekah. And these 8 Milcah bore to Nahor, Abraham's brother, and his concubine, whose name was Ruamah, also bore Tabah, and Gaham, and Tahash, and Mecah. So, but Ribkah, I think that's Rachel, Rebecca, Rachel, one of those are ones. That's who ends up being the wife of Isaac, Yitzhak. So I apologize. I'm going to leave it short like this, because the other recording was already an hour long. So, but I apologize for skipping 2 chapters that were hugely important. And make sure it's correct. 22, 24. Yes. So be blessed, and we will see you, Yah willing, next Monday when I record week number 5. Bye.